Hello and welcome, folks, to a very special edition of RSF Radio. I'm your host, Joe Monday, and we have with us tonight a new challenger approaching the podcast. That's right. You might know him from Wednesday Night Fights. You might know him from the stream bearing his own name. You also might know him from the Gauntlet podcast. That's right, folks. We have Chris Tatarian with us tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I feel good nailing that intro in one take, folks. That's right. They call me One Take Joe Monday for nothing.
Yeah. That was pretty catchy. I like that.
Not at all. But anyway, I saw what you said last week. Let's kind of reel this back a little bit. You had posted a couple things on Twitter recommending people not play Ken. That came up on the sub. People shared some words about that. And I said, well, let's give him a fair shake and let him say what he wants to say about the topic. So it's not just, exploding out to the crazy ends of what people think. Like, let's be real about it. What is wrong with Ken? And I want you to say it out of your own, because like you are a very talented player. You know what you're doing. It's not like you're just saying that out of nowhere. And so I want to dig into it. But before I do that, let's get into like the business end of stuff first. So what do you have going on? Let's pitch all your social media stuff right up front, because people don't listen to the end of podcasts ever. When they hear that it's closing up, they just shut it down. Everybody knows that. So let me know where people can find you. Right up front.
It's a shame, though. Podcasts are a pretty nice thing. But you could find me on Twitter at Chris_Tatarian. I'm pretty sure that's where all of my, what can I say? All of the things that are usually posted about me are from my Twitter, and you'll get a lot of entertainment from my Twitter, a lot of salt as well. So you can follow me on Twitter at Chris_Tatarian. I like to do a lot of weird shit, so my Instagram is filled with kind of my personal life and the things that inspire me, and a lot of artistic type of things. I've been dabbling in that a little bit more. And yeah, I don't really use Facebook, so don't look for me on Facebook.
Like what? What you got going on the gram?
I don't know. I just have. I was never really an artistic person growing up. I was more into math and everything, and it wasn't until about when I started college where I started to really see my mind shifting towards other things and expanding and finding an appreciation to just other aspects of things that I was not doing. Like you listen to music, like a certain type of music is your favorite music, and when you're growing up, it's hard to like different types of music. I used to hate country. I used to hate a lot of different types of music. But when you get older, it's kind of cool how you find a new appreciation to things. And I was never really good at art, so I always try to, let myself expose myself a little bit more.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. And also, I want to pitch this again for you, but you're also. Are you? Would you say that you're co-host or host of the Gauntlet podcast?
Well, we're all co-hosts. It's a show made up of four of us, so I guess we're all hosts of the Gauntlet. Jared is the main person who, he's the one who kind of directs the show, so he's the host within the show, most definitely, and he does an amazing job at that.
Do you mind giving a quick pitch for that of what you guys talk about every week? I know that. I listen to the show. I think it's good and insightful. A lot of very strong players on that podcast. But what's your elevator pitch for that show?
The idea of the show originated when I was talking with Brent, and we wanted to come up with something that is unique to the FGC. And I know that there's things like Ultra Chan. There's things like Ultra Chan and other podcasts as well, but I'm not really too sure if there's a professional player on these podcasts that is a host of it, right? Or two at that, So I wanted to give, a lot of the times, Street Monsters don't get to see the behind the scenes. They don't get to hear about the behind the scenes and the way that players actually feel about certain situations, rather than what is posted on social media. See, social media, things like Twitter, is literally it's the plane where every top player just gets to tweet some things that they can tweet just to make people happy, rather than actually tweeting about how they feel. As a professional player, when you look at Twitter, you start getting, you notice that what's popular is to tweet about the most hot thing at the moment, and then try to like put somebody down and or kind of feed off of that. You know, like, let me give you a better example. Like, if somebody tweets something stupid, for example, you'll see a lot, there's a trend where you see a lot of top players and or just players in general quote that person's tweet. And then they put something like a snarky remark. And that snarky remark gets like 200, 300 likes, you know?
Yeah, and that becomes FGC discourse instead of like actual conversations.
Exactly. So, and it's not just in the FGC, it's in like today's society. But
that's a whole other conversation we don't have time for.
That's a whole another philosophical conversation that we can get into as well. But and podcasts are the plane for us to do that. That's the, you know, we could talk about shit like that. But
there's a little bit more nuance there. It's not just, you know, I don't have 240 characters to try and make people laugh.
Well, okay. Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing that I'm trying to get across here is top players, they like to tweet things to make the fans like them more. This allows for more opportunity. This allows for people to give you more subscriptions. This allows for people to just like, oh, this is the player's mind. This is really how this person thinks. When in reality, the top player is like, I'm just trying to make a little bit more money, so I'm going to tweet something good about this. You know what I'm saying? Put
someone on blast, or
I'm gonna put somebody on blast rather than actually expressing how they feel. Now a lot of the people, I'm not saying 100%.
I'm not trying to make you call someone out. We're not about that.
I don't need to call anybody out because they already know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's true.
Everybody that does it knows. And I'm not going to say here that I've never done it because I'd be a hypocrite. I've done it myself. How do you think I'm telling you about this?
True. You know what I'm Stop playing Ken.
Well,
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We're definitely gonna get to that. But well, if anything, the Stop Playing Ken kind of brings more hatred than it does likes. But so essentially, the show, I kind of directed off from the show so I can give you a little like mindset of a player. The show is designed actually, first of all, to help the people. It's designed to make the people start thinking about the things that they were not before. For example, how to understand neutral game, how to develop your footsies, how to get over this, how to, you know, find a solution to that. We provide that for the players, and we allow them to think about it, to sit down and say like, hey, there's somebody that's giving me tips now. Instead of me having to deal with it myself, there's somebody actually telling me, take these steps and you'll become a better player. And I feel like when commentators do that, it doesn't click as well as when a player is telling you, a player in that position is giving you that advice that, hey, I was there where you were. Now listen to what I did, and you can take these steps. This is how you become a better player in the game, you know? And it's, I think we've done a really, really good job of helping people because we receive emails, we receive a lot of tweets from these people that are like, yo, we're listening to House Tatarian Tips and it's helping out. And it means a lot to us. But besides the Street Fighter part, the main, you know, thing we want to do with the show is for people to get to know us a little bit better. You know, from the internet, you only get to see who this person is for so much. And you see what the comments are saying about that person, you start thinking this is who that person is, rather than actually listening to the person speak about himself or herself. We don't really get to know the people. You know, when I was a stream monster, I used to watch all these people on, you know, Justin.tv, you know, and when Twitch first started. And I'd be like, man, I want to meet these people. Like, oh, like you look at the what everybody is saying, like, oh, this person's such a piece of shit. So you automatically think this person's a piece of shit. You know, so your first encounter with him is like a little suspect, but it's just a better way for you to get to know the person. I've found so much value in this community by getting to know people rather than just making that original judgment, you know, that all humans do. But, you know, I don't know.
And then it's for good players talking from experience on how to improve as a player. And there's something to say about that.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a little.
No, that's good. That's good. We have, at least I know I have the time for it. You might not, having to go to Wednesday night fights tonight.
No, it's all good.
But So I think that that's a good platform to jump off into the topic of the day, which is to stop playing Ken. Now, I've brought up a document that you posted. When did you post this Google Doc? This was actually a while ago.
Yeah, this was a long time ago. I don't exactly remember when, but it was maybe 2017. It was maybe a couple of months after, or a month after E-League, because I remember talking to John D about these inconsistencies when I was at E-League. And I told him, there's these problems with Ken, like you should tell the people so they can, whoever the people are, so they can actually fix it, And he was like, okay, well, just send me like a document of all of these problems and I'll send it over to them, and I'll try to make that happen. And I was like, okay, for sure. So I hit up Ryan Hart, who was playing Ken at the time, and Urian, but I hit up Ryan Hart. I was in contact with Julio, with Brent. And then on top of that, Momochi as well. So and Big Bird. So that's 5 Ken players on top of me who were known.
The top Ken players.
The top Ken players, And
you came up with this list.
Okay, there's this, there's that, there's this, there's that. We all talked about it. And we're like, okay, yeah, there's this problem happening as well, and there's that problem. So I made that list from a collective of 6 Ken players that, we sat down and we talked about it on the chat.
Right.
And yeah, that's essentially how the document was made. It was originally made right after E-League to send to John D, and I had emailed them that document.
So there's a little extra gravitas to this document than even I thought going into it. I thought maybe this was just your work and maybe bouncing ideas off of Brent, but no, this is all of the top Kens.
Yeah, absolutely. This was talked about by all the Ken players. And you see, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to be the only one who just writes out a list of the problems with my character. I'm going to talk about it with the respectable others who are known within the community, who the I don't want to call them the stream monsters, but the general public of the FGC would trust.
The public monsters, yes.
Source.
Yes, I know.
Right. I wanted a reliable source.
Yeah. So I think it would behoove us to kind of run down this list and maybe talk into detail of things that aren't on this list. I don't know if you have it up, but I'll run down this list of 12 things that are listed as inconsistencies with Ken. I want to get into like maybe why they don't work or how they can be fixed in some instances. But the first one, which I actually think is the most problematic, is Ken's crouching strong into target combo, back medium punch, hard punch, target combo. Yeah. Sometimes whiffs if Ken lands that crouching medium punch as a counter hit. And now this is still including after, how they made that patch and then the counter hit pushback has changed on some normals. And it has been on the pushback itself has, think if I can say this right. So the pushback itself has been reduced. But the reason why this particular one doesn't work sometimes, for one of the main reasons that I could come up with, and I tossed this idea over to Hatson and Weed, who are those people who run SF5 Sim. They do a ton of work with hitboxes, and they look into the matrix. And with this one in particular, with certain counter hits, it's that the pushback or the push box on certain normals is active on frame 1 on some normals. In a lot of the cases, it's a lot of people's fastest light, like 3-frame normal. And that slight change in that pushback causes that combo to whiff because it is a very tight combo. So as a top Ken player, what do you think should or can be done about this?
I don't want to say that this is an only Ken problem. This is obviously in the game.
True.
And it's a problem. No character should have to deal with getting punished for making the right read. You know, there's obvious like certain circumstances in Street Fighter 4 that led to like weird character specific things, but it was just that. It was a character specific thing. One character out of, not every character had that problem.
Yeah, you get a certain combo on DJ because his hand's out there, or Abel's got a big,
Exactly. But those were sick, those were actually sick. Those combos were godlike. But the problem here is that with other characters, it's not as important as it is with Ken, because this is his bread and butter combo that is the most damaging combo. So,
and it starts with the button that you're most likely to meaty someone with.
Exactly. I can meaty somebody with jab, but even that sometimes whiffs the back strong, or the back strong fierce part might whiff, and that's another thing. But you want to use crouching strong because that's a button that is easy to meaty with. It's a good button, and you +2 off of it, and it leaves you at a certain distance that you're comfortable with. It sets up a whole meta with Ken. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have to not do the most optimal thing with my character because of the game just randomly not being okay with it, And when I say that, obviously it's not like there's this, game that's flowing and then, like a bug. There's obviously pushback, hurtbox problems.
Yeah.
That needs to be fixed. You shouldn't put a player in a situation where they're playing for thousands of dollars and they're thinking about, how am I going to open this person up? Mm-hmm. And then they finally succeed with that thought of, you know what, I opened this person up. Now let me do my combo. Right. I shouldn't have to think about, now let me think about doing my combo. Because now there's that extra layer of, is this combo going to whiff in this situation? Is it worth doing in this situation? And the problem with Ken is that this is not just one combo. It's not just crouch strong, back strong. Almost every single bread and butter he has is unreliable, meaning it can randomly drop in a weird situation. And in this game, there's a lot of weird situations.
Yeah, now when you say, because I want to nail this down specifically, because when you say randomly, it's really just very highly specific instances. For example, I actually have the hitbox viewer up on the screen, so this is really only for people who might want to watch the video of this, but you can do this yourself on SF5 Sim. I have Ken ending a combo with a hard kick tatsu, dashing up, and meeting with crouching medium punch. And I have an Alex set to stand light punch on wake up. Now, Alex in particular is one of those characters, even though he's a big body, that stand light punch has a push box on frame 1. And because of that, and we can thumb through the image here, because of that, it will make this back medium punch whiff. So I have him waking up, stand light punch, you can see it in the corner of the script, he gets hit, counter hit, push back, outside the range of back medium punch. Now, it would make sense for Alex, if he's going to press a button on wake up, to press as fast as normal. It makes sense to press stand light punch. And that's true of other characters who have push boxes on frame 1. I think Ryu has it as well. But that list of normals is incredibly highly specific. You would have to look through every single normal and think, or at least button check every single character, and then know in your mind, well, you can't even know when you see it that you got counter hit by that normal. He might have done something else.
Exactly.
So you don't know if it was hit by that because you can't see that one frame how it started. You're not going to be able to know.
Exactly.
So like, you're not going to choose a less damaging combo off of a counter hit.
Yeah.
Because that's nonsense. That's not how counter hit.
That's not how fighting games work. That's not how.
Yeah.
I shouldn't let Ibuki live. If if I have a chance to kill her, I'm gonna kill her. I don't want her to even have 0% life.
Correct.
I don't want that situation ever. Even if I have 100%, I've lost games like that, and it's not worth it. It's really not.
And I asked all the hitbox people that I know, like people who are highly into this. I was like, does anyone have a list of frame 1 pushback frame 1, the push box extends. Does anyone have that list? And that list does not exist. So this is not something that anyone is like.
Nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna.
It would be nonsense. It would be nonsense to do that. So I am with you on that one. That one in particular. And I think one of the solutions, or at least my solution, would be. I don't know, because we can get into this a little bit later. I don't know if we want to jump ahead on this list, because the back medium punch thing is there's more problems with it than just this.
The solution is simple, man. The solution is simple. Just have somebody who gives a fuck about testing something and let them actually test it. Don't put in the patch notes that, yo, we fixed it, and then I try it and it's not fixed. Like,
correct.
At what point in the fucking what's it called, the breaking room, the fucking situation room, whatever it's called, at what point were they sitting down and thought, okay, we're gonna actually write down that this is fixed, we did this for you guys, and then knowing that it's not fixed, were they just like, yeah, fuck it? Or because I can't understand.
I think in this situation, Ken is one of the very few characters where, because the link between crouching medium punch to back medium punch it's on the razor's edge in terms of being able to combo at all. Like, if you walk backwards for a single frame after that crouching medium punch, it'll whiff. Not that it won't link, it will whiff entirely just by walking back. And I'm not even
asking, like, oh, make it easier. Oh, I can't walk back. It's not about that. Like, I'm already having to hit confirm.
Right.
In input lag. Like, come on. What more do you like? What more do you want?
Which we can get to. I'm actually going to drop down to number 3 next, because this also involves the back medium punch hard punch target combo. Which says if Ken hit confirms, this just says back strong, but what I think you meant to say here is crouching medium punch to back strong. If it's like the latest possible that you can do it, the fierce can whiff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That has happened to me in tournament. That has happened to me in tournament, and that's nuts. That's actually nuts. You confirm the back strong.
Yes. You
confirm it, and then the fierce just whiffs in front of your face, and you're just like, what did I do to deserve that? Why? Like, I confirmed it. Why did you do that to me? That was unfair. And then the Mika player is fucking, oh, come on, grab it, and you're dead.
Clap. Stay.
Yeah, that's it. But like, I'm over here, fucking, my veins are popping out as I'm trying to like hit confirm. But
this one in particular is tough because the cancel window is so large that just by them in that reeling back animation of that back medium punch causes them to move just out of range of stand hard punch. To think that it's possible to do that at all. The possible fix for that could be to tighten the window on when you can cancel it, or
that didn't happen in season 1. That never happened to me in season 1. It was only after season 2. They changed I think they changed the hit stun and the block stun on back strong, and like there was it felt weird hitting it after season 1. So I think maybe there was like more pushback on it as well that caused that issue. I don't know, man. After season 1, fucking, they just nerfed everything and I don't understand why.
Yeah, that's strange to hear. I didn't trace this one back that far to know that.
See, the thing is, like, I don't mind nerfs. Just make them understandable. Right. Don't nerf something that my character actually relies on to hit somebody. Like, what else do you want me to do? You want me to hit him with a jab and then walk back? Like, you know what I'm saying? If I have a read on somebody, I should be able to hit confirm the back strong.
And you've already hit them.
Yeah,
they're already in hit stun.
I made the right read.
Right. And kind of going along with that, the next one I think I want to hop down to. I know I'm going out of order, but I think just conversation-wise, this is how this works. Yeah. But drop down to number 11 on this list. And I'll also link this list in the comments for everyone else to see so they can follow along. Number 11, which is medium kick roundhouse target combo. Will whiff sometimes when whiff punishing. I actually did some testing on this and asked some other people to test this in current patch, in AE. At what range will standing medium kick roundhouse whiff? Like what's the furthest it can connect? And I actually started up from starting distance. If you walk Ken like 1.5, just about 1.5 tiny squares past the red line, you can hit them with a standing medium kick, a standing Ryu with standing medium kick, but the roundhouse will whiff. So there's a certain range where even at max range, it can whiff. So as someone
and that was actually one of the things that was fixed. That was one of the things that was in the patch notes that got fixed.
People that were just listening can't see that you just did air quotes when you said fixed.
Oh yeah.
But that is one of the things that was fixed. And as someone who plays Ken, does that still affect your game when you think about whiff punishing?
Absolutely, 100%. Because Ken's buttons are not, they're not as long range as other characters in this game. So if I make a right read on, my opponent is going to press his button that outranges me because it does outrange me. So my only type of defense move in this situation is to preemptively press my standing medium kick and catch them with a counter hit. You know what I'm saying? Because that button goes that far. Right. Now I'm not doing it from a full screen. I'm doing it from a reasonable range that the medium kick hits. My roundhouse should connect afterwards. Why? Because for me to get that medium kick to hit, it meant that it would have whiffed if he did not press a button, and he could have whiff punished me. So not only am I making a right read, but I'm also taking a risk of whiffing a button. So, and the fact that on top of that, I'm not rewarded with the actual hit confirm, that's what bugs Ken players. That shouldn't happen. You're forcing me to just eat it now. You're just forcing me to not use any of my tools, not to trust any of my tools. Even if I have the right read, I'm now at a disadvantage because the right read is going to cause me to lose.
Right, because outside of a whiff punish, where is standing medium kick to roundhouse that useful, really?
Stand medium kick to roundhouse is not used as a whiff punish more so than it's used as a counter poke. It's used for a situation where if I'm walking my opponent down, right, and or watching him come to me, right? So I mean, I don't know, since you said there's a visual part as well, I'll kind of show with my hands. So if I'm when you're saying that is there a visual so
no, people can see that if you're watching the video of this, there's a lot more people who just listen to the podcast, but there is video if people want to see this. He's holding his hands up.
Yeah, well, I'm just showing you like character A, character B, this is Ken.
Right.
If you can use stand medium kick with Ken as like he just put out a button and I'm gonna whip punish it, you know what I'm saying? Or the better way to use stand medium kick is if he's approaching you and you make a precise read on him wanting to press a button, then you counter with your stand medium kick and you hit him as he presses his button. You know what I'm saying?
It's button check.
You button check, you counter poke them because you're making that read that because now he's in range of his button, he's going to feel comfortable pressing it. So I'm going to hit him with a counter. You know what I'm saying? That's the counter stand medium kick, and then I want to confirm it. Or the offensive approach would be if you see your opponent walking back and you're walking him down, and eventually when you get close to him, he's gonna want to press a button. He doesn't want to take the throw, or he's gonna try to tech, right? So when you're walking at your opponent and you get in that sweet spot, when you feel like he's gonna press that button, you press that medium kick and it connects, roundhouse, you hit him, right? But the problem is that I can't use it for any one of these situations anymore, and especially not as a whiff punish. So I have to find another way to open up my opponent on top of dealing with medium kick. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just requires more risk.
Right.
And It's just too uncomfortable there. Even if it requires more risk, I'm not somebody who is like, oh, my character has to take a risk, boo-hoo. It's more like, yo, if I'm taking that risk, fucking reward me.
Right.
If I'm taking that risk that you want me to take, reward me for it. Don't punish me for making the right read. I'm not complaining about the risk. Fuck it, I'll whiff a million buttons and lose. But if I make the right read, reward it. Don't hurt me for doing that, the right thing.
And
even how risky it is.
They did attempt to like kind of fix this problem in, I actually can't remember if it was the latest patch or the patch right before AE, which caused characters hitboxes or hurtboxes to be moved forward after, like, if they were canceled out of a normal, which basically meant they ended up closer to you if you stuff them or if you whiff punish them, is how that one worked out. But with standing medium kick in particular, you don't know where they're going to end up.
Oh yeah, no way.
So in that sense, it's unreliable.
It's a weird like freeze, you know? It's a weird freeze with stand medium kick.
So what are, I guess this is kind of an offshoot question, but in that range, could you use standing medium punch to a similar effect or a more risky effect?
You can, but you have to confirm off of one hit with stand medium punch.
And if they've entered that space and then got hit max range walking forward into it, because that's the case with standing medium kick. If they walk into max range,
it's a safer option, and it goes further than stand medium punch.
Right. Because
the button goes further, it gives me a little more room to.
You can contest that space. You can challenge it.
Instead of just holding it, I can actually contest it. Why am I saying I should be allowed to contest it? Because my button reaches that far, and it's meant to confirm. If it did not reach that far, I'm not going to try to fucking jab somebody where I should use stand medium kick. You know, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's interesting that you. And I think this wraps up that button, because its best use case is to contest space and stop people from walking forward.
Yes.
Where when it does hit at max range, when it would be hitting someone walking forward, let's say they walk forward into max range, right into his toe, the stand roundhouse will whiff.
Yeah.
Because when it does hit max range, I tested this right before this. When it hits very max range, it will whiff.
So the thing is, I want to leave off with this, and it's that stand medium kick you're not going to be using when you're like really close to your opponent. You don't want to use a button that looks longer than it. How do I explain it? Like, the reason why back strong is a better button to use than stand medium kick when you're closer to your opponent is because it's a quick check. It's a quick, you know, like back strong, and he reels it back. Stand medium kick, you block it, and you, in your mind, you recognize that you just blocked stand medium kick. It's -2. I'm going to press a button. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, whereas back strong, I could kind of like back strong and sometimes get away with another back strong. You know, so it's all visual as well. There's a visual game that is being played just as much as in the actual, you know, mental game. Right.
That's, I'm in agreement with that. Smart way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
Next one I want to jump to, because I don't know how much time exactly we have. I don't know if we're going to run through this entire list. And also, this is kind of an older list, so I'm going to go to the ones that I think are still the most applicable.
Yeah.
Number 9, which is Thunder Kick into Light Kick Tatsu.
Oh my God, bro. I don't even fucking talk about that. That, before you continue, this happened to me at E-League. E-League against Luffy. Out of all people, this happened to me against the fucking top Armika in the world. And imagine that I did not complete my combo because I was so scared that it's going to drop. And you know what? I didn't do my combo, and because of that, I lost.
Oh, okay, that's interesting to think about that.
Yeah, think about that.
Yeah, that you even if you saw it hit, weren't okay with letting that Tatsu rip.
No, I did the light Tatsu. I even did the light Tatsu. It hit twice. I didn't follow up with the DP.
Okay, so maybe talk exactly about what this one is. Let's run through exactly what this is.
Okay. So this problem is Oh, do you want to start?
No, you go ahead. You talk about it. Okay. I've introed a lot of these, so I'll let you go. Go ahead and talk this one through.
Okay, so in season 1, Ken's overhead was really good, really strong. And in season 2, they slowed it down by 3 extra frames. And they decreased the range of it as well. So they slowed it down by 3 extra frames. They decreased the range that it hit because it went really far, if you don't remember. Mm-hmm. Which is, obviously like a good nerf, you should have done that. That overhead was really godlike.
Yeah, it was really good.
But in season 2, because they slowed it down and nerfed it twice, they gave it the ability to combo easier. If you timed it meaty, you get a combo off of it. You get a light Tatsu into a heavy DP. Or if you're in the corner, you get a beefy-ass light DP, heavy DP. Mm-hmm. Now, that overhead was -2, meaning I gave up my turn, right? And I know that I got a reward from it, but fuck me if I get a reward from something,
You're not allowed to talk about rewards with Ken.
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
Not on this show, please.
I'm not. So the whole thing is that they made it -2, and even in season 2, I was like, fuck, if I overhead, he's gonna, it's gonna be his turn now. Mm-hmm. Now in season 3, the overhead is -4, meaning I'm getting punished if I go for this. So you're telling me that if I go for this move that's gonna punish me, and I hit them with it, and then I try to follow the combo, that I'm gonna get punished for it, for hitting them? It's not gonna work. The combo's just not gonna work sometimes. Why?
So I looked into why this sometimes doesn't work.
There's no physical possible way that somebody is going to be able to fucking have the all-seeing eye and see the exact frame of was he standing crouching. When it hits meaty in this game. The visual is like a fucking crunch. The character gets smacked and you follow.
Here's the actual problem with this, is that when you say meaty, it's actually not a perfect frame.
It doesn't hit on the first frame anymore. Yeah. That was the change from season 2 to season 3.
Which is important here.
Yeah.
Because if your overhead does hit meaty,
mm-hmm.
and someone is crouching, if it hits perfectly meaty, you've timed it perfectly meaty, and it hits them overhead, and they're just holding down back, there are 2 standing frames of animation from standing to crouching, which is just like, it's a thing in fighting games. It's this isn't the first one to have it, so
no, absolutely not.
So no. Let's maybe not fault it for that exactly. It's just something that happens. It allows instant overheads, which okay, that's a benefit. Does Ken have any?
Ken has 1 instant overhead, and that's against Abigail.
Yeah, he might have one on. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, no, yeah, I think you're right. But that in particular, he doesn't have any on regular standing characters, and no Ken. All right. Sorry, I had to check real quick.
That's all good.
Check my notes. But for that reason, because they're standing, and it did technically hit meaty, like the way that works is that because they're crouching, it does hit that like 1 frame like late in terms of active frames, so then that light kick Tatsu can connect.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're standing, you hit a standing hitbox, then it doesn't work. It used to be.
There's no way to see that sometimes. There's no way to see that sometimes.
Yeah, it would be very difficult, especially when you're doing an overhead that you can visually react to.
And you're thinking about the fact that, oh fuck, I might lose because of this.
It's a risk.
Because of this overhead. Yeah,
it's a risky overhead.
Yeah.
So that is why that one happens. Even though they did fix it on big bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That if you do hit them crouching now, because they had a taller crouching hurt bucks, you would hit them on your first active frame of the overhead, and even though it would hit them, you wouldn't have the same advantage as you would have against normal size characters.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the specifics of how that particular combo works.
Too many specifics.
Yeah, it's a little bit specific. So this is another one of those things where if you do time it perfectly, your combo will drop.
Think about what number are we on though?
That was in terms of things that we've talked about. We've covered we've covered a third of what we're talking about. And those ones are pretty big.
Like, when I'm saying specifics, like those are all the main things that I need to kill somebody. Too many specifics every time I hit somebody is not a good thing. It does not allow me to have offense. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
When there's like certain specific things with each thing that I have to do, then it's a mental overload of how am I supposed to focus on what this fucking nut is doing when I have to think about what if I even do the right thing and it's just not going to work, you know?
Right. That one in particular would be hard to fix.
Yeah, it would be, but I think you could fix it. It doesn't, like, if that's the case, then fucking make my speed the same way that it was in season 1. Give me the range again. I don't want to risk that anymore. You should compensate. You should
right.
Give somebody, unless you really don't want the character to be played at that point, which they succeeded in doing. For me, at least.
Are there any? Nah, because there aren't any moves that force crouch. There's ones that force stand, so I don't think that's a thing that you can do.
And the thing is, these are after the overheads that are leading into the meaties. These are not just like neutral overheads that I'm doing. These are after specific sequences that are the best sequences to do to lead to a meaty overhead, to the one that will combo. So these are all very specific situations that I have to fulfill A, B, C, and then D is going to be the overhead. Right.
And that may or may not occur depending on what they do.
Exactly.
Even if it does quote unquote work, it will not have worked because of how they decided to wake up, even if you get a hit.
Exactly. And if they quick rise, it'll be bad timing. If they back rise, so I'm even making the read
yeah, that's true. You'll whiff it entirely, yeah.
Like, how many reads do I have to do for me to, hit you? Do you, like, meanwhile, fucking Rashid and Abigail are just like fucking going nuts and just winning for one read. Meanwhile, thinking about 7 reads in one combo.
So that I kind of want to lead into. All right, so to that I'll say, I mean, with Zangief, for example, his light confirms got majorly nerfed, I would say.
Which was a really bad mistake. They should not have done that to Zangief.
Crouching light kick to crouching light punch into lariat will whiff on a pretty big list of the cast if they wake up backdash or are walking backwards, which is how you would hit them with the crouching light kick.
Exactly.
It's how you would hit them. So even if you hit them, you have to think about what they were doing. If they were jumping back, you might hit them.
Yeah.
Which is the other reason why you would crouching light kick. But it covers more options. And to that, Idazan isn't playing Zangief anymore. So what does that tell you about a character being competitive if the tools that they use to get the job done and are useful in those situations, should you play them at a high level?
Okay. I think that when you're starting off with Street Fighter, if Street Fighter 5 is your, first fighting game or first Street Fighter or something, play whatever character you like. You're obviously not competing the same way that we're competing for, and it probably won't be a while for you to compete. So, but when you're watching your favorite players that use your character not play that character anymore, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't play him. Have fun with the game. Like, the game should be fun for you, more so than it is competitive. Don't jump into this and think, oh, I need to be competitive. Just have fun. And by you having fun, you will be competitive with the game. You will have that drive built inside of you. And that's when you can make an important decision, such as, is it time for me to take this more seriously and start becoming a harder opponent to my opponents? Or is this just going to be me putting myself under a lot of stress every single time that I play for pride?
Yeah, I think like in Idazan's case, he needs a license.
He does.
So why would he play a character
that's not going to do anything for him,
that lacks a tool that would be extremely useful?
No.
Or there are other characters that fill that hole in.
But do it better. It better. Yeah. So
exactly.
He's a smart man. Like he was just like, fuck, I'm just not going to deal with this again. And he, struggled as it is. I mean, I think Zangief was really good, but
I've been saying for a long time, Zangief was very good in season 2.5.
Don't even get me started on Zangief, but the thing,
we don't have to turn that into this. This isn't about Zangief. I feel like Zangief took some hits, but
he did. Fuck Zangief. So I'm glad that happened. But
I have a shirt that says that.
But the thing is, like, you see the approach that Capcom is having with these characters. If Zangief is on the screen, what they want is instead of jab, or
they took away his light confirm.
They want him to be more. Look at his V Trigger 2.
This is true. That's why I play his V Trigger 2 just because it's a showman's V Trigger. It's not the good V Trigger.
They want that though. So you have to realize that if this is how they picture the character, then how you think this character should be played is not going to work out for you if you are trying to be a competitive player. If not, do whatever you want with Zangief and have fun, because the character is fun, But at a competitive level, you're not having fun anymore.
Right.
You're struggling, and you're struggling hard, because there's characters that are grapplers that do what Zangief does, but better in every way now, right?
Alphabetically, I think they're near the top of the list.
Yeah, that's not to say that Zangief is fucking bottom 5 all of a sudden. That motherfucker hits you with 2 SPDs, you're dead. So it's not about, you're just struggling more neutral, no doubt. But don't let these Zangief players try to creep up on you. Zangief is a motherfucker. You make one mistake against Zangief, you eat a heavy SPD, you eat another SPD, you're stunned. So he just has to take that extra risk. That's
that's kind of how I've been playing.
Your solid game will be easier.
Yeah,
your solid game is a little easier now against the Zangief player. So this isn't just about like Zangief being nerfed. It's about him being nerfed in the areas that will allow you to out-solid him.
Yeah, if you just play fundamental defense and just think about if you don't crack.
Yes, if you don't crack, then this is where you see Zangief's nerfs.
Right.
If you don't crack, Zangief has always been that type of character.
That is true.
You cannot crack against Zangief, or else you're dead after 2 hits. And I mean, it's pretty much every character, but with Zangief, fucking hell, man, Zangief.
I apologize for turning this into Zangief podcast.
No,
this was not my intention, but
it's okay. But
maybe that was in my back pocket.
It's all good. It's all good. The main thing with that, I think, is to understand that. I think I'm glad that we went into that, because it helps the newer player and or just the average player or somebody that's trying to get competitive kind of get a better mindset for why Itazan dropped Zangief, or why Momochi dropped Ken, or why Big Bird dropped Ken, why I dropped Ken, because it's not worth it for us anymore to put ourselves in that situation when there is money to be made, when there are people to impress, when there are more fans to be made. You want to be competitive. The competitive drive in you, more so than the pride and everything else, is going to make you be like, yo, I need to win more. I need to do better,
Right. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to, is that in order to play, if you just want to play your solid game and do the safe options when you can and take the risks when you want to take your risks, you don't want to be taking risks whenever you're doing your solid play.
Exactly.
If you want to make it through a 2,000 person bracket of Evo, you don't want to have to think about.
You need 2,000 lists of bullshit that you can pull out at any time. Not 2,000 2,000 things that the other person has that you have to deal with. You want to be the person inflicting the bullshit. You don't want to eat the bullshit. You want to fucking rub the bullshit all over him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, mentally, it would be very difficult to run through a large bracket with multiple players who you've never met before.
In this game, when you have fucking Cammy players just whiffing stand medium kicks 7,000 times, when you have birdie players just whiffing stand strong, and you're over here trying to like, let me play some Street Fighter. Like, nah, dude. You need to really understand how your character works and fucking abuse the bullshit. Abuse it. Abuse every visual. Well, look at Blanca, for example. Look at what they did with Blanca. The Plushie costume. And
it's
his
kind of hard to
costume.
see. Yeah.
Dude, that shit is a fucking, you know, like they just want the visuals. Fuck with the visuals. It's all about the eyes in this game because there's lag. If there's lag, then you can fuck with the eyes. That's why Ken's dash is so good. That's why his run can get away with it sometimes, because I'm creating a visual game now on top of the mental game.
All right, we're actually kind of running up on time a little bit here. There's a little bit more of a list, and a couple of these things I think either have been solved or like they're things where
none of them have been solved. I'm not even.
That's a little dishonest. Just looking at this list,
none of them have been solved completely. None of them have. Every single one still has that same exact problem. Every single one on that list still. I think from the last time that I've looked at it, every single problem on that list has not gotten changed. So that's a list of 12 things that are inconsistent, that are bread and butter to the character, to how the character is supposed to be played.
Sticking to your guns.
No, absolutely. No, it's because what I'm saying isn't like, if what I was saying was bullshit, then at this point I think I would have been like, nah, I've been lying, you know. But
the things that we talked about, I can kind of fully get behind, of like not entirely bullshit, especially as like how you want to play your solid game. There's a couple things on this list where like if you don't DP as soon as you land after like kick tatsu, then your DP will whiff. Or
no. If you DP perfectly, it'll still whiff. Not about like, oh, I fucked up on my DP timing. No, this isn't about like fuck ups. This is about, think about who I said made this list with me. This is about people that are optimal. I'm not going to just not be optimal with my character, you know? Like, if there's a way to be optimal with my character, I'm going to be optimal as a competitive person. I'm not going to not be optimal. And if it's my own fuck up, then it's my own fuck up, and I'll hold that. But when other Ken players are telling me the same exact thing, then I'm like, all right, I'm not tripping anymore. You know, I've practiced this in training mode. And in crucial times, it's whiffed on me in tournament. So I'm not just making this up anymore, you know? I never was making it up. This is just a reality that has not gotten fixed. And what really bugs me, man, is, it doesn't even like bug me anymore because I called it out. But after I made, in that video, I just said, like, I'm not asking for buffs. Like, take that thought, please, wherever that thought is like lodged inside of your head, just take that thought out. I'm not asking for buffs. I'm asking for my character to be fixed. I'm not asking for a teleport. No 7 hitting fireball. No fucking double EX Tatsus in the air. I'm just asking for my character to be fixed, so that way he can work, he can function in the game rather than be broken and you feel like your character is incomplete. And I still don't understand how people say, crying for buffs. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, you know? I've always, like, I'm a fan of getting trolled. I've been trolled a lot, you know? Like, Brent, he's my best friend, but I grew up getting trolled by all of my, you know, Street Fighter homies.
I listened to the last episode of The Gauntlet. There's a high degree of trolling on that episode alone.
I'm a fan of trolling. I troll myself. But if you're going to troll me, do it the right way. Don't fucking be unoriginal. Don't say some shit that you saw somebody else post and it doesn't make sense. Like, do something sick. Like, dude, at Wednesday Night Fight, somebody told me I have a receding hairline because I was talking about Rashid. And I was like, dude, that's fucking godlike.
That's a good burn. That's a pretty good burn.
That's a good burn. I gave him a clap for that because something original, even if it's like, a joke on you, you can laugh about it. It's not serious to me to the point where, oh, they're over here saying all this. It's more of like, yo, like, come on, I expect better from you guys from talking about me so much. Let me hear something new now, or let me hear something better instead of copy and paste. Because if you're actually thinking about what I'm saying, you can analyze like, yo, he's not asking for a buff. Why did I just make a meme that he's asking for a buff? You got 200 likes. Good shit.
Because at least the things that we talked about here would not be fixed by, I mean, the buff, no, because I don't like even extending the range of back medium punch to make sure that it will not whiff in that scenario. It's more so of like if you took away frame 1 push boxes on like your light normals, that would fix that situation.
Yeah,
you'd have to go through and fix that.
I'm not a developer. I don't know what needs to be exactly done. Right. I'm just saying you can do it though.
Right. Well, I'm coming from it from like that. I have people that tested a lot of these things, and they said that this is why this is happening. But even those guys didn't have a list of all the normals that would cause it to whiff in that instance. Yeah. Just that it does happen in some instances. But all right, I think that is probably a good place to probably cap the conversation, unless you want to give one last pitch to stop playing Ken, or if you want to do a troll on
the whole thing about stop playing Ken. Like, it's just for drama. Like, look at my Twitter. If I say hello, the whole FGC, they just start talking about it. So I can use that power for my advantage by creating some more drama, by making the Ken inconsistencies a bigger deal, by talking about it a little more. You know what I'm saying?
But I think what's important to that too, I think that there's value in completely discussing exactly why these things don't work in these instances, which I think is what makes like this and the things like you do on your own and the Gauntlet podcast are important, because going through this stuff, or the other issue, this is like kind of unrelated, and I kind of want to talk about this directly about the FGC in general, is that there is not good archival data on characters the way things are right now. Like, there used to be SRK, but people aren't doing long form posts anymore. A lot of it exists on Twitter, which is somewhat searchable. Moments are sometimes useful, but for example, it's like someone's gonna have, if someone doesn't know everything about how that crouching medium punch to back medium punch will whiff on a counter hit, this is the first time you're hearing that on this podcast, that like, for example, Alex's stand light punch will make it whiff, but his stand medium punch will not, like, because who gives a fuck? Like, I don't know why that works or doesn't work, but specifically in that case, like, there's no data, you can't search it. So it causes a lot of people to have, or at least come from a place of ignorance. Yeah. And I want to at least speak truth to the things that are like, maybe not like quote unquote wrong, but things that are quote unquote like patchable or fixable, or should probably work in a certain way versus not work in a certain way. And I want there to be data to back that up.
Put a little more effort. Like, can we please get a little more effort into it, into what it is that we're playing, so that way we feel more comfortable. You always want your customer to feel comfortable, and I'm not trying to just like attack Capcom or something. I'm just saying that
because a lot of these they're very little things. They're very highly specific. They're very highly specific.
See, here's the thing. I'm gonna even on my podcast I keep it real, but I'm trying to let you guys know that your favorite players, the people that you're watching, the people that you follow on Twitter and everything like that, these same players that you follow have bitched just as much as I have back in the day, and even still today. These same players still complain. And by complain, I'm talking about worse complaints than me. These same players are not real when it comes to their social media. And it's so sad to see that. And this is, again, on some philosophical shit that you and I can get into maybe later on or whatever. But I'm seeing a lot of people just follow the hottest trend, and or to just like somebody because you're just liking that somebody. And for example, like, look at this. You obviously remember my Abigail post, right? Where I said, yo, you seriously got some brain cells missing if you find Abigail as a hype character, you know? And I didn't use the perfect choice of words, but fuck, forgive me for speaking on my Twitter, right? That was like, that blew up so heavily, like so heavily, because I said that, right? People were quoting my tweet, getting thousands and thousands of likes just from their memes and whatever they were saying. And it was like even spoken about in tournaments that I was going to, right? PAX, you know who PAX is, right?
Yeah. No, I don't think I've met him.
Karen player from UK. He's one of my homies, but he's very well known in the FGC. Sorry, when you said PAX originally, I was like, I went to Penny Arcade Expo, which was like, I went to a whole other place with that, but I'm with you now. I'm sorry. So you know PAX, right?
Yeah.
Very well known player. He made a tweet about Abigail, calling him retarded. He made a tweet and like a list of tweets he's been tweeting about Abigail, but you see people commenting on it with like ha lol, and they like it. Where's the chat about that? Where's the FGC new story of the day? Another top player says something, right? But there isn't that because of this fucking.
Is Akuma a weak character?
It's Chris T. Chris T is the one who's saying it. Like, yo, listen, I'm a human being. I've said stupid shit before.
It's a weird thing where people within the FGC have to assume responsibility for the things that they say across all of FGC.
I think there's a certain degree. Like, if I say something really wrong, and like, let's just say regarding like sex or race or anything that's like wrong, you shouldn't.
Let's keep PG on this podcast. No talks of fucking. There will be no discussion.
I'm not talking about fucking. I'm talking about like gender topics and whatnot. Yeah, I'm not like over here on my Twitter like hurting anybody or saying anything that is, you shouldn't be saying or even thinking. I should say, but I'm over here just saying like my mind on a certain situation, but it's being taken as that. Like. For my comment about like makeup with women, that literally went so viral that I had so many trans people, women, men, every type of gender blasting me. Every gender was just blasting me. And I was like, did you even read what I said? That I don't mind makeup on women? There was people like quoting my tweet and saying, oh, people don't put makeup on for you, or how do you not like makeup or something? Like, you're literally taking the words out of my mouth and just fucking putting it in a blender and then adding shit in it. And then you're creating a fucking shit smoothie and you're calling it my thoughts, my words. And that's not what it is. Like, I don't care anymore the way that I used to in terms of if people look at me at a certain way. If you don't know me, then you don't know me. And I don't blame you for having a judgment on me based on your societal approach. Right? Based on what you hear from society, what you think that you know about me. I don't blame you for that. And
or how much credence you give to interactions on Twitter.
Yeah, and the thing is, the thing is, if I say something that is wrong, or if I say something that actually hurts you or offends you, can I ask you how hard it is to message me? Hey, can you explain your thoughts on this for a second? I'd like to talk to you about it because I kind of didn't understand or kind of offended me. I would be like, hey, absolutely. So this is how I feel. Let's talk as civilized human beings. But what happens is if I say something, quote tweet, oh, what a fucking piece of shit, motherfucking Jesus believing piece of fuck, like instead of actually talking to somebody, now it's just turned into a mob mentality. The FGC has turned into this mob mentality of let's just do what is popular rather than let's sit down and actually have a conversation with somebody, and this goes very philosophical and very deep within the FGC as well. But basically what I kind of want to end my piece on is there's I'm no stranger to hatred from a lot of people, and I don't mind it. It's helped me become a better human being. It's helped my experience in life become better and much more positive for me. And if you do dislike me for whatever reason that it is, or if you do hate me for whatever reason that it is, I'm glad that at some level I make you happy in some way. If you get enjoyment from your life, if you really get enjoyment from your life by talking about me or saying things about me or whatever, then I'm glad that, hey, at least I'm making somebody happy, whether or not they hate me. You want to talk about me, that means that I'm part of your day, and you can't help some people. Some people, no matter how much I sit here and talk about who I am or how they should view me or whatever, like, you have your own opinion at the end of the day, and you're going to choose whatever you choose. But I just know that if you were to come up to me in tournament and shake my hand and say, hey, my name's this, nice to meet you, I'll shake your hand back and say, hey, nice to meet you as well. You know what I'm saying? I don't hold grudges on anybody or anything. And there's been so many people that have shook my hands and have the next day said some shit about me. And it just makes me laugh at that point.
I'm gonna quote tweet the shit out of whatever you post next.
Oh, absolutely.
Like immediate. I'm doing it currently.
I don't mind it. Like, I have more things that are going on inside of my mind that cause me grief than worrying about your thoughts about who I am. Like
you're mentally stable in 2018? Weird. Well, what could be wrong in this year of our Lord 2018? Like, that's everything's fine. I don't know what you could be talking about that would perhaps cause mental duress. I think that's a much longer conversation for perhaps another time. And I think that'll wrap everything up. We're just running up into an hour here. So
let me actually say one more thing, if you don't mind.
All right, you go. This is I'm eating into your time right now. I think I should.
No, it's all good. All good. If you've never met me before, come say hi to me in tournament. Even if you don't like me or something, just come talk to me for a minute or two, and you'll get a different vibe than what you have been experiencing from just either social media and or from listening to what others say about me. Just come talk to me and I'll be real with you. That's one thing that I really find happiness within myself, is being able to be real with people and talk to them about everything that goes on in their mind, so like, get to know me a little bit, and if you hate me, then fuck it, you hate me, fuck it.
All right. And on that note, Chris, where can people quote tweet you at?
You can quote tweet me on Twitter at Chris_Tatarian. Make it original, please. Can you just make me laugh with something that you say? There's been some good ones before.
Only highbrow insults here on Chris_Tatarian.
Yes, absolutely. And Instagram at Chris_Tatarian as well. I also want to thank everybody for giving me your time to just listen to my thoughts. That means a lot to me, and you guys should listen to the Gauntlet. Follow the Gauntlet on Twitter. It's at GauntletCast. We help you level up. We give you more of a personal experience with the FGC. You get to hear a lot of crazy ass stories with us, and you'll get to really connect with us through the podcast as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, folks, and that will do it for another episode of RSF Radio. Again, I'm Joe Monday. You can find me at Super Joe Monday on Twitter if you haven't checked out already. But until next time, or I'm actually probably going to record another episode tomorrow for like the actual Thursday show. I might release this one, try and get this one out tonight, and then have the regularly scheduled podcast every Thursday or Thursday night, or however the fuck I get things going. But until then, folks, take care.
Thank you.